What does GMO stand for?
Man,
It's genetically
genetically manufactured.
I know it's bad, but to be completely honest with you, I have no idea.
General modified ingredient.
So we hear about GMOs all the time. People keep talking about them. GMOs are bad. GMOs are harmless. GMOs cause cancer. GMOs cause infertility. The list goes on. The funny thing is, most people don't even know what it is. So what are GMOs? GMO stands for genetically modified organisms. Basically, a GMO is a living thing that genes were modified for specific purposes. Genetic modification can make a tomato plumper, an apple sweeter, or rice more nutritious. So how do they do this? It all comes to the DNA. By changing the DNA, you can create different genes within the organism. Simply get the DNA from another organism that has the trait you want and splice it into the subject organism's DNA. Then, after you obtain the seed that has been genetically modified and plant it, you have a GMO. What's so bad? The problem is not GMOs per se. The problem lies within Monsanto. You've heard of them before? Monsanto is the agricultural monopoly of America. They control a majority of the crops in the world. Their actions are questionable, as with any large corporation. For example, if one of their seeds are blown into another farm accidentally, Monsanto has a right to sue these farms for using their patented seeds. They almost always win. And if you think that's bad, think about how they are affecting our environment and our health. Monsanto creates seeds that are resistant to insects and pesticides. So what is the FDA doing about it? They say it's safe, but do we really know for sure? Monsanto has spent $2.4 million on lobbying in 2013. This can greatly impact how the FDA is run. So what has been done on this? Well, in Hawaii, the county of Maui successfully banned GMOs. Of course, the judge ruled it invalid. Sounds sketchy. Around the US, we have anti-GMO movements going on. It's pretty well known. Of course, they aren't successful. They are not creating enough influence.
So then what's the point? All those solutions don't matter. Well, they do. We can learn from them. We need to create a plan. This is how we can do it. Number 1, create organization. Number 2, sue Monsanto and the FDA. Number 3, state create laws. Number 4, Congress creates laws. Congress will create a federal legislation against them. Number 5, the final product is achieved. So how will the process even work? Let's take a look. Start with the AAAB. We gather scientists, professors, and everyday people alike who are against GMOs and get our voice heard. We gather monetary donations and make efforts against GMOs. Realistically, we are going to use lobbyists. The goal is that we become so big that everyone has heard of us. When the time is right, we sue Monsanto, as well as the FDA and other agencies that are letting Monsanto fly. We have to have the best possible lawyers against Monsanto. Call it AAAB versus the Monsanto Company Incorporation. We must win. Meanwhile, states should start creating laws against how Monsanto runs. That way, they have less influence over us. When so many states have their own laws against certain GMO methods, Congress will become more pressured to pass a major act or legislation. We specifically want Congress to ban the use of pesticides and herbicides on the scale Monsanto does it, as well as limit the types of GMOs that can be released for consumption. That means no insect killing GMOs. The final product should be that new people are appointed for the FDA and other agencies. Monsanto should either have decided to go a lot less heavy on GMOs and should have a lot less influence. People can feel more safe about the food they eat. Seems too simple? It can't possibly be that easy. Well, it isn't. The general consensus of the scientific community say that the GMOs are safe. They say they pose no threat to humans and that anybody against GMOs are ignorant. Well, our job is to find more evidence against certain GMOs. We have to stress that not all GMOs are bad. GMOs saved the papaya in Hawaii. We're not saying that all GMOs should be banned. We're only against some of the types of GMOs being made by Monsanto. We don't know what we're eating. We may be eating something harmful. In addition, we don't like all the pesticides being used. Our second group of opposers are the Monsanto people. They will stop at nothing to save their company. They have the advantage against us, being that they have more money and influence. We have to work together to stop their fraudulent ways and expose them. Somehow, we have to get them to surrender. Our goal is not to devastate Monsanto, but to control them. So that sums it all up. In the end, our job is not to ban all GMOs, but to control it. What most people forget is that not all GMOs are bad. It's more so the companies like Monsanto that are. Of course, we alone cannot do this ourselves. This requires a national effort. That includes effort from you too.